This video was sponsored by Enhance, Elbilmek, ABRP Planner, Kempower and Bilkomponenter. Yo, what's up? This is Mercedes CLA 350 4Matic, and this video I'll show you the interior. How much space does it have? I mean, I'm only 173 centimeters, I'm standing next to it, and it doesn't look to be that big. Well, that's what we're gonna find out. I tried to put some baby or child seat in the back, and also maybe some stroller in the trunk, just to see if this works as a family car or not. But let's show you guys the front first. It actually has a decent sized trunk. Wow. Okay, this is just a little cover. So this is large enough to fit, I don't know, maybe a small suitcase or maybe 2 backpacks even. So nice that Mercedes made so much space here. But the back here might be a deal breaker for some people. How much space do you have in the trunk? Let me see. Okay, I'm not supposed to do the capoeira swipe, okay, but you're supposed to do the kick here. Okay, how do you kick with the left foot, not the right foot? Oh, okay. But here, not that big trunk opening, and then not the hatch opening. So I wonder, can we put the baby stroller in here? Okay, here we have a Cybex e-Gazelle S. So the frame goes in there, and then the 2 seats, well, they actually fit really well, huh? You can use this as a family car, at least with stroller. But what about car seat then? Okay, I'll check that later. So in the trunk, on this side, we have space for some emergency equipment. Here we have a little pocket to put more stuff. And then this carpet, well, you can loosen up. Under here, there's also slightly more space, but that's pretty much it. Here is the, what the heck is that thing? And then, yeah, it goes deep-ish. And in the back, we check. Oh, it's not very spacious here, entrance. And remember, I'm just a small Asian. Ooh, it feels cramped in the back here. Oh, can we recline? But the seat is only in one position. We can barely fit under the front seat. We have 2 USB-C here, illuminated. Air vents that can be adjusted. Yeah, it's a Mercedes style. Nice resistance, nice design on things. But here you see that the front seat here, or the front passenger seat, I push it all the way back. Usually this is how I do it when I put camera equipment there. And then you have literally no leg room in the back here. Oh, at least there's a pocket here. We have okay interior, right? I mean, it's Mercedes after all. Frameless windows, hook there, not acoustic glass here. Adjustable seat belt there. And well, it is kind of sparse in the back here. What do you have really? Nothing, no handle, nothing. We have some light here. Can we turn them on and off? Nope. And then here we have the center console. Fold it down. Phone holder here, and then cup holder there. And then you fold it again. Let me see. You press it as well. Kind of hard to do it with one hand. There. And then it becomes actually a decent ski opening. Isofix points are great, but you get this lid. And then where the heck do you put them? Well, I tend to put them here. But then with the drive, you hear this. So I prefer the lids that stay on here, but okay, well, that's not the case. But at least we have a lid, so easy access for the Isofix. And headroom here is, I guess, okay. They extended the glass roof far enough so you can actually utilize the glass roof here. But if you sit more laid back, then, well, you have maybe 3 fingers of clearance. If you go slightly more forward like this, then, well, you don't even get a fist of clearance. But what about in the middle seat, if someone dares to pain themselves? Oh, and it's, I don't know how to put this, but the middle seat is so narrow that I feel like you can't really put 3 adults in here. Maybe 3 small Chinese. Okay, whatever. But it is tight here. That's what she said. Okay, so now I put a Cybex Sirona T in the back seat, and then we'll sit in front and see how much space. Oh shit! Wait, when I want to adjust, I need to go here. Okay, but now we can go back a little bit more so I don't sit totally upright. Okay, see. Now we go back, see how much space we have when we touch the, wait, there. Yeah, okay, a little bit more back. There. Wow, I actually have okay space here, which means that I could go slightly forward until my feet are slightly bent but still in comfortable position. Like here-ish. Okay, now I feel like I don't want less leg room. And now I can recline. I'm not touching it yet. There, more or less, yes. Wow, this was better than expected. I thought it would be quite cramped in here, but it turns out that when this seat is in the most back position, it just means that you have a lot of lot of flexibility to go quite forward or quite back. But the space here is roughly on par with an ID3. Yeah, ID7 is just way better, but okay. I mean, it's still pretty good. I think also it's right on par with the Tesla Model 3 or maybe the NIO ET5 we have behind us here. And in the front we have electric adjustable seats, but with not that many adjustments. You can go a little bit up and down. We have the breadcrumb collector. Yeah, that's good for the extender there. And then the steering wheel is manually adjustable up and down, in and out. But you see, it's quite sparse in the interior here. They had to save something, right, to cut the cost. So, for example, we have the MEV platform, the Volkswagen style, where you can lower the window here, but you have to click rear to lower the rear. But maybe that's not really a big problem because, wait, it goes only that low? What, really? Because you might not need to lower the rear that often. But also here, there is no memory button. We only have the adjustment here and here, and all Mercedes style, they like to have it in the door. So actually, for memory, you have to go here in the screen, and then you have 3. But it makes me wonder, since you already have it on the screen, why only limit it to 3? Like Tesla, NIO, you can have plenty of positions, right? Not only 3, but okay, whatever, that's what you get. If you want more, you have to pay extra. And okay, so we have a fairly big instrument cluster here. You can switch it if you swipe it here to see this view. This is for the autonomous driving out there, right? Oh wow, nice. Okay, look at this. Impressive. It sees a car. 2 cars. Wait. No, there's an ID7 over there. So it sees that car, but it doesn't distinguish that it's a station wagon or a sedan or whatever. It just sees something there and a building or, yeah, not that detailed. And then it actually sees a car behind us there, which is the e-Golf there. Impressive. Okay, and but this is what I don't like, the whole haptic. You have to swipe. Okay, you see, you have to swipe up. Swipe up, come on. There. You see, I miss swipe all the time. Okay, to see the different stats. Okay, and then to reset one of these, you have to click, and then yes. Yeah, and then the reset, okay. And then here also, here's the cruise control stuff. In the same day, you need to swipe, or click once to increase by 10 or decrease by 10, but then you have to swipe to increase by 1 or decrease. But who does that, right? Who fine-tunes the speed with the cruise control? Well, I do, because I drive barely legal. But we have physical stalks. They feel great. The resistance on them, same here. This is the gear stalk and the gear selector, like Mercedes style. I like it. Nice steering wheel overall. It's just that I don't like the okay, whatever. I said enough about that. We have these air vents here, you know. Also Mercedes style, I think they are the only one who use this type of control. You have the airflow and plus the direction and the amount in the same there. So it's nice, it's actually quite nice. Yeah, and then you have the big screen here, and then nothing there. I don't get the point of having a screen there, Many cars, they have a screen there, but when wifey sits here, for example, she never used that screen anyway, so there's no need to waste money on it. So here, interesting, it's a relatively large screen, but for some reason they don't utilize this part of the screen. And someone says in the comment section, yeah, that's because when you are sitting here, the steering wheel is in the way for any icons there. Well, steering wheel is in the way anyway. You need to see there to see some of this other. But whatever, I'm probably just nitpicking. So this is the Mercedes style, you know, things. Navigation here is nice. However, I find it hard when I start digging into the menu. When you start digging into something here, I think it was over here, or I don't remember, start digging here somewhere. To go back, you need to do this to go back. But when I start digging into some other settings, I don't remember, dynamic select. Okay, now of course when I want to show you, I don't remember where to go. But once you dig into the menu, you just have to how do you go back to the previous? Well, you do this, but then you go all the way back. You know, I just wanted to go a little bit back to maybe the sound menu here. So I mean, okay, whatever. There's still some of the physical controls here. There's one wireless charging pad here. I wonder if it's cool. At least it has some yeah, it seems to be cool. Yeah, I never noticed that when I put the phone there. There's some buttons here for mode, you know. Yeah, but also you have to switch on the vehicle. It's weird why you need to switch on the vehicle. Why it's not on already? Okay, cup holder here. Center console. What? Sorry, I have all my stuff here. In here, okay size, not the biggest, not the smallest. And then we have the bridge design. So you have USB-C under here. Sorry, I have some of my equipment there. See, it tucks in there nicely. That's the inverter for charging my camcorder. And then it has a 12-volt outlet, which is right over there. Mercedes style also way over there, but at least there is a 12-volt outlet in the front. The seats are nice. Alcantara. Yeah, just showing you here the breadcrumbs collector. They have some okay side support. And also comfortable to sit in that for a long time, like I've been doing. Headroom, plenty of headroom here. Great. Oh, interesting. You see, the light on this side was flickering. Well, now it's totally dead, so it doesn't give me any error anymore. It's just dead. And this car has done only around 3,000 kilometers on the odometer. Well, it's not only the headlight, also parts of the LED strip, whatever, is dead. So well, that's a bit unfortunate. Some people claim that it's from Hella, the lights. Yeah, it's kaput. It's one warranty, I guess. So there you guys have it, the CLA. It's possibly the most hyped up car. Based on the view count on my channel this year, it seems like CLA gets most of the views, which means that many people are interested in this car. So I mean, overall though, it's great. It charges quite fast. It's very efficient, almost as good as Model 3. But you get the comfort in a Mercedes, right? And you get actually physical buttons and stalks. And then space-wise, you can actually use this as a family car. Maybe not the most spacious car, but it should work for us with 2 children in the back here and the stuff in the trunk. But it might not be the most spacious car if you want to go on a Europe road trip for 2 or 3 weeks. But just occasional driving around here, maybe even a weekend trip, should even work okay. So that's gonna be it for now. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, thank you for watching and talk to you later.